Hello everybody, James here, and it's Storytime with Dutch Mantell, episode 97, and we're going to do the plugs first. And what do we do with the plugs? It's been, I was going to say it's been a while, but it's every Thursday we do this, and for some reason I can still never remember. The first one is Pro Wrestling Tees. We've got a shop on Pro Wrestling Tees, the links are in the description. We have books as well. My books, I've got one on Owen Hart, one on The Rock. You can get them on Amazon, the links are in the description. And Dutch Mantell has two books as well, the Tales from a Dirt Road and The World According to Dutch as well. If you want them unsigned, you go to Amazon. If you want them signed, you go to dirtydutchmantell with 2 L's at gmail.com. He also has signed hats available, and he also has the signed diplomas available as well.
There's a problem with the signed hats, because sometimes on hats and caps, I can't sign them because there's no place to. Sometimes it's very, very dark. Say a black hat. Say a black hat like this University of Dutch. Beautiful creation. I can't sign it anywhere. I guess I could, and even though the lighter colors doesn't show up.
When you put a Post-it note on it, like sign a Post-it note and stick it on that.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, that's very good thinking. That's why you're at where you are. So
if you want an unsigned hat or a signature on a Post-it note on a hat, they're Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's at gmail.com. I don't know how
that's a good idea. Post-it note and just stick it on there. Or Dutch was here. That'd be good.
We are also on, this is something I never plug and we should do, we're on Facebook, for goodness sake. Storytime with Dutch Mantell on Facebook, where we post every day and we have some exclusive stuff there as well. So I encourage you all to head over there and like us and follow us on Storytime with Dutch Mantell Facebook.
Where else are we?
Storytime. Nowhere.
We're on YouTube.
Well, we're on YouTube. We're on regular podcasts. We're on Facebook. You're on Twitter. You're on Twitter twice. Why do you have 2 Twitters?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's been so long ago. And I don't even know what they are. That's how much I pay attention sometimes to what I'm doing. But I have Dirty D Mantell, and I don't know what the other one is.
It's like Dr. Dutch or something. I can't remember what it is.
Well, Dr. Dutch is just a name I put there. It's not, you couldn't find it by looking for Dr. Dutch, but because I am a doctor too, you know. Where did I get Dr. Dutch? I got it from Tom Pritchard.
Oh, did you?
He was Dr. Tom. And we teamed up one night, and we was in, I think we was in Knoxville. And we teamed up one night, and I just, off the cuff, I told the announcer, I'm Dr. Dutch. And it was a woman. So she announced me, she announced us the doctors, Dr. Tom Pritchard and Dr. Dutch Mantell. So I just kept it, Dr. Dutch.
It's Dirty Dutchman 1. At Dirty Dutchman 1, University of Dutch. You've got 18.4 thousand followers on it. And your picture on the front is RIP. It's a gravestone. I told you I felt like crap.
That's a good picture, I think. Hey, you know what I learned to do? You know that etching on a gravestone? It's etched in, not
like the engraved.
Stamped.
The engraved.
Yeah, but I actually learned to do that on computer.
Right.
And it looks just like somebody had taken eons of time to etch that into the gravestone, but it looks pretty good. Now, if you ask me, if I sat down right now, I'm looking at the computer screen right now, and if you said, how do you do that? I couldn't tell you. I would have to get on here and go through the same process I did before and figure it out. So it's funny when you actually, they say if you figure something out yourself, you never forget it. Hell, I forget it right when I got up from the session. I couldn't remember how I did it. Somebody said, how'd you do that? I have no idea, but I did it. Do you ever have that?
Yeah, but I do a lot of photoshopping for these kinds of things, and it's some of these things just to get like let's say you've got like an image of anything, an image of you, like a cutout, right? And you want like a white border around it, just a few pixels wide. That's like a 10-step process.
Really?
Yeah. On my useless paint shop.
Why would it
thing.
be a 10-step process?
Well, because you've got to highlight the image, then you've got to float the image, and then you've got to expand the image by several pixels, and then you have to have another layer behind it. And so you take a layer, you put it under the existing image, then you fill it in white, and then you have to unselect that image as well to give a little white border. And then if you want like a fade or a shadow or something like that, you've got to add even more in. Very complicated process.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you don't have to do that just to have a white thing behind it.
Yeah, I do. I don't know if it's just because I've got really stupid Photoshop.
But, yeah, no. That's because you want it to be to your specifications.
Mm.
A regular guy like me, I could do it in like 3 steps.
Could you do it around the gravestone?
I would cut it out and just put it on a white background and then trim around that. That's what I'd do.
Oh, would you?
That's what I'd do.
That's more complicated than with but you are secretly quite good at Photoshop, because I remember you sent me ages ago, and for some reason I believed it halfway through. Something about like how you had 6 matches in one day, and one of them was like a bear or something. And I think it's like by the 4th match I started just going, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Why don't we go into the news? And quite a few people sent in this video that we're going to watch. And
yep.
I don't know if you've seen it. It seems to have been seen quite a lot, and it's very confusing. 30 seconds of non-wrestling, really. We don't know if someone's injured or whatever, but I'm going to tee it up, and you can do the commentary over it. Okay, we're back recording. So this is 30 seconds. So who did you say? Do you think this was Mickie Knuckles?
Her name is Mickie something. So I don't know.
Okay, this is the beginning of the clip. So I'm going to play it now. You tell us what we see.
Okay. She's trying to pull a crawling. Oh, she picks her up by the crotch connector. Oh, yeah, and goes underneath. Now the girl said, I don't want to go. And I think this is Mickie Knuckles. Now, Mickie Knuckles tries to get her up. Nope, she can't quite. Oh, now a little anger coming in there. Get up, you lazy ass biatch. That's what she was saying. And now what is she doing now? Oh, she's pulling up again.
No, that's
I wonder, did she ever get her up?
Well, I'm wondering that as well. Do you think that the lady, I mean, this is the real issue here. Do you think she gave her such a vicious wedgie that she injured her coochie? Is that possible?
Hey, we don't coochie shame here.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
I just want to tell you that. But I don't know where this is, but it's probably not. It looks like a garage, really. And I don't know. They didn't draw too many people, but so you see this all the time. If people would just send more of their tape that they've taken, send it in. I see that's an anger kick, but it wasn't much. Oh, she can't even get her up. Now she's mad. Oh, get up. Kicked her twice. I don't. Wait a minute. Stop it right there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm looking at something. What is that where her hose goes up on her leg closest to us?
Oh,
yeah, right there. What is that?
That's her belly.
No, it's not.
It is.
Stop it. Oh, yeah, I see it now. Oh, God. Well,
have you ever dead weighted someone in a match like that?
Have I ever? No, it's according to how they put me down. To dead weight somebody takes, I never would dead weight them. I say, hey, I can't do it, or don't do this. Usually, a guy that I would work with would be. I never had got any trouble. I never got in any miscommunication or anything. Usually, if he's experienced, he just doesn't do it. He said, okay, I got it. And if he's inexperienced, he said, oh, well, I don't do nothing to make the veteran mad. So I never took it. But no, I never did really, because if the guy was heavy on me, I'd have to get heavy back. I was telling you a little bit about before we went on the air about Chris Adams. We were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we do we do pre-discuss this podcast. We talk it over. But I worked with Chris Adams one time in Texas on the Friday night show. And I had the first time I ever worked with him. I'd heard so much about him and how good he was. Damn. He was stiffer, what we call stiff. He was very stiff, and his punches hurt. I said, and I thought I owed him money or something. Hey, I'll pay you, man. Just tell me how much it is. And I'll pay you. I'll go back to the dressing room right now and bring your money to you. So, but that just goes to show you hear so much about certain guys, but yet when you work with them, and he wasn't mad at me or anything, nothing like that. I guess unless he was drunk or on drugs or something, I don't know what could have been the problem with him. But we got through the match, and I never worked with him again, thank God. But anyway, he busted my bubble. I thought he was such a fantastic worker, and I was really, and it was like the first match in months that I was really looking forward to having. And he went in there and he underperformed, or I underperformed, one of us. But the match wasn't very good. And I remember one time he kicked me like I was in a corner. He kicked me in like in the gut. God. And I did think I owed him money. And I looked at him, I said, and I think I told him, do I owe you money? I don't know if he got the meaning of that. But anyway, we got through the match without any further incident.
I take it you've never, at least in wrestling way, caused such vaginal distress to an opponent that they can't get up. I'm figuring that's relating to the previous video. I'm figuring that's what it was.
That little strap went right up in that little slit. And I've never seen that before, by the way. It was the first time I've ever seen a connecting part of the costume, part of the outfit, go right up in the middle. She got a wedgie when she didn't really want to have a wedgie, but she got one.
Yeah. Referee's decision by wedgie. The opponent cannot continue.
Yes. Wedgie dysfunction.
Speaking, well, we're not speaking of a wedgie at all. Anyway, we're going to be talking about AEW for a bit. I couldn't think of a better sort of a go-between between those two subjects, but we're going to go to AEW. We've got several things to talk about here, and the first one is the Jack Perry Scapegoat t-shirt. So, after the AEW Dynamite episode where the Young Bucks presented the All in Wembley Brawl footage while either Nick or Matt, and don't ask me which, was wearing a Scapegoat t-shirt, that t-shirt has now since sold out from New Japan's online store. So the t-shirt itself, editor will put an image in, but I mean, I can describe it. It's a black t-shirt with almost white chalkboard writing that says Scapegoat.
Yep.
And that's it.
I've seen it.
Why do people buy this stuff?
Oh, I don't know. I'm glad they do buy, because, but how many did they make of that? See, that's what you say. Oh, it's sold out, but they don't tell you how many they made. They made like 3, and it's sold out, which now says, oh, it's going to be hot. Now I got to get that. And then the next time they do it, they get 6 and they sell out. So if, you've had previous, sellouts on 2 items, so you just keep stocking it. So yeah, I don't know why people buy. The only t-shirt that I really ever liked was the Austin 316. And I always, and now it's in, I mean, you don't have to be a wrestling fan to wear it. You just put it on, and now there's a story behind it. And I bet if you ask the people what's the story behind it, they wouldn't even know sometimes. But it's a cool shirt, Austin 316. And actually, it was a good, Austin come up with that, right? In the interview, right? Austin 316.
Yeah.
And he came up with it, and it held on.
Yeah, how you came up with it? Charmy came up with it. Apart from the fact that the John
who
3...
came up with it?
Well, Austin came up with it. So apparently he was the king of the ring. He had to go and get stitched up because Mark Mara kicked him in the face. Yep. And then he had to do an interview. And just before he went out for the final match that he was going to win and then do the interview, maybe it was Michael Hayes or someone said, Jake Roberts did a promo on you. And Steve Austin said, what kind of interview? And he said it was religious-based. And Austin went, done, okay. And so he just came up with Austin 316 straight off the bat.
That was good. Very good. I liked it.
So, is it just like with a t-shirt like this where you couldn't possibly wear it anywhere? Because people are just looking at it and just... If you wear a t-shirt like that, it just like brings up more questions than I'm sure most people are willing to answer. Mm-hmm. Is it just a protest purchase? I mean, if there were only 3 made, then that would be Nick, Matt, and Adam Page who'll have bought them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Can you think of some of the worst t-shirts ever? That you you cannot figure out how anyone would have bought them and then if they'd ever wear them in public.
Well, I've seen a lot of bad t-shirts. I can't remember them. I don't remember bad t-shirts. I remember like the good ones. So,
well, let me give you a couple.
Give me a couple.
Scissor me daddy ass. It's like, what kind of like emotional problems?
Says me daddy ass.
No, scissor me. Do you remember a couple of years ago with the whole thing with Billy Gunn and the whole deal?
Oh yeah.
And they sold really well. And it's like, how do you wear that in public and like not have like some sort of like emotional problems?
I don't know. Scissor me. That's this, right?
Yeah.
And they do that. It's kind of stupid. No, it is stupid. Yeah. I won't say kind of. It is stupid. But as long as it sells, who cares?
Do you remember China?
Well, the country?
Well, the lady wrestler.
Yes, I do remember her.
Yeah, she had a T-shirt that said "The China" and sold it.
But China?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good too.
The girl in the first video should have worn that. Say "The China" and then just have her shorts disappear up it.
That would have been good. The China.
And your old friends, this is the other one I thought of, was the Acolyte Protection Agency, Bradshaw and Farouk, and they had a T-shirt that said "Always pounding ass."
That was John. Because Ron wouldn't do that. You ever meet Ron Simmons?
I walked past him and didn't actually speak to him.
Oh, he's a great guy. You know, what I like about him, of course, he's a great football player. And he played at Florida State, All-American. Great player. Except for when he played Clemson. Then I didn't like him too much then. But he's really, really... I mean, I don't care what kind of business you're in. And you will find a lot of people like this in wrestling because they're great talkers. And they make people feel like, you know, like you've known them your whole life. And when people come up to you and say, oh, man, he acts, he was so nice. And the person made them feel, the fan made them feel like they were wanted and they were appreciated. And a lot of guys are just like that because that's part of their personality. But Ron is like that.
Let's have a look.
He got that deep voice. Yeah. It grabbed you in.
Let's have a look at a couple more T-shirts. One sec. Right, so let's have a look at this website, Wrestling Inc.
Yep.
Cody Rhodes' Daddy Eats First.
Oh, okay. I got it. Stupid.
Damn right I did, Earl Hebner. Who'd wear that?
That was good. Earl would wear it.
His son.
Because it probably only sold to people that knew Earl. There's another crazy bastard.
Jomo Sapien.
Jomo Sapien. Jomo. Jomo's. You know who that looks like? Who is that?
That's John Morrison.
That's John Morrison.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Johnny's surname.
Recognize. Yeah.
Spit or swallow, Carlito.
Oh, that's too much. Fuck, fear, drink beer.
Yes, fuck, fear, drink beer. $9.99 for the WWE Network.
That was good.
What is this? Faith for the Fallen, carrying cross, your old friend.
Nothing we do is unjust. All the guilty and the hand of time decides the judge. Faith for the fallen.
Does sort of seem like he's a member of a cult more than a wrestler.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't
Have
get
we the
that.
people,
Like I don't
Jack
get it.
Swagger?
Hey, there it is. That tells the story.
Okay.
That was the shittiest T-shirt ever. Damn.
Did you pitch any T-shirt ideas?
That does look like Jack's arm there, like he'd been in the sun too long.
Yeah, Trucker's Town.
But Jack kept talking about T-shirts, and they finally come out with that one. And I saw the guy, and I went, "That's the best you could come up with." And the guy just laughed and walked off. He didn't, because he didn't design them. He just puts them on the table. So,
dear
but anyway,
there was various versions of that, because I've seen like the outline version of it with "We the People" written in as well.
there's my fan Renee Paquette. I know it's Paquette, but I always said her name wrong.
Pin me, Ward
Daddy. I don't get Wardlaw. I don't get him. What's the deal? What's his gimmick supposed to be? Just a big musclehead guy?
I guess so.
I don't get him.
See if there are any more here. Minnesota Nice, colder than ice. Top flight. AEW's come up with some stinkers. TNA, I think, may have the record of stinky T-shirts that they came out with over the early years. WWE, just out of sheer... they've come up with some horrible ones. Any more? Jericho Wanna Be with a dead picture of a wasp.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
What is the context to that?
I have no idea.
The Phenom.
Old Man the Undertaker. Be wary of the old man.
Be wary about the old man what?
Something profession?
Oh, I don't know.
Young man something. Any more? Oh, here we go. AJ Styles and his butt ugly T-shirt. I remember this. TNA came out with some disgraceful designs.
Hey, I'm going to call Dixie Carter up and tell her you said that.
Well, you go ahead.
I will. I got her phone number right here.
Now watch me hit. Now watch me Bray Wyatt.
Bray.
Is that like some sort of music reference? Right.
Hey, man, I don't ask me. I don't know. Bray. I don't know. Probably some rap music stuff. I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe it's like Adam Cole, Bray. Maybe they were a tag team at some point that I've forgotten about.
Hey, bet you're right. Bray.
All right, let's move on. Wembley. And there may be more to the story, So this on AEW Dynamite last week, they showed the CM Punk and Jungle Boy fight, and God. Happy slappy scuffle for 6 seconds, and then a slight bit of pointing. Lives were in fear of. But anyway, there may be more to the story. So a lot of people wrote in when we posted the video, and has been going on elsewhere, is that they're suggesting that by airing the security footage without the express written consent from everybody appearing in said CCTV footage, like CM Punk, maybe even Jack Perry, I don't know, could amount to a breach of privacy and data protection as dictated by UK law. So, Lex Loci Delicti, or I probably butchered that Latin.
What are you talking about?
Well, it means the law
Delecti.
You're thinking of delicatessen. Probably. It sounds like a delicious word.
I am. I'm hungry.
The law of the place in which a tort is committed. So essentially, the meaning of the location.
Okay, you're talking to mostly Americans on this end. A tort, I think most people would think about apple tart. A tort, that's what they would, the closest thing to it. But a tort is what? That's a legal term.
Just basically a law, I think. In which whatever it is. I don't think it works in that context, but basically that is. Meaning that the location of the crime dictates what laws are applied, so even though the footage was shown in the States and then distributed internationally, the footage was filmed in the UK and therefore subject to UK data protection laws. This means that Tony Khan may have possibly opened himself up to criminal prosecution in the UK and maybe even a civil suit from CM Punk in the future.
Okay, so what's the question?
What has Tony Khan just like? Of all the reasons that all the bad ideas, this could be the worst. That when they come back to Wembley this year, he could be subject to arrest. Maybe, I doubt it, but maybe. You never know.
I don't get it. So what they're saying is everybody in that video needs to sign off on it, or therefore it's illegal. But in the U.S., that's not true. See, if you're would that be considered a public place when they're?
I think the thing is here that you can record, so like if for whatever reason, if you can record somebody in public, that's legal. But then posting it publicly, let's say on YouTube, would then become illegal.
I don't get it. I think we need to have some roundabout way to get all these little terms and laws all condensed down and put into like a little pamphlet. You get it, and it's about 4 pages and what you can do and what you can't do. That's what I would do.
Like Chinese menu sized.
Yeah, exactly. And in Chinese.
Yeah. You're only thinking that because I sent you a message in Mongolian last night.
Yeah, you did. And what did I do?
I don't know what language you sent it me back because you were on the computer and my phone wouldn't translate it for me. So I had no idea what you said.
Well, some phones do it automatically. I just thought I'd tell you that.
With the Wembley thing, do you think CM Punk will actually sue Tony Khan?
Nah. Why would he sue him? That's just now. It's just he'd have to sue him with the services of a lawyer free. Now, if he could do that, maybe. But I think he's about done with Tony Khan. Now, here's my next question, which is the same question I think a million other fans had. What was proven by showing this video? I don't think how silly it was, and nobody really got beat up. Even CM Punk said, I didn't beat him up. I choked him a little bit. I like that. Oh, I choked him a little.
He's been professional.
Yeah, I just choked him a little bit, but nothing was shown. And, to hear Tony tell it is like, oh my God, what would scare you so much about that? Because he was getting yelled at too?
So the story is that there was a second part of the video that wasn't shown where CM Punk comes back and yells at Tony or whatever. Apparently.
No, there is a second part to that where he leaves and then seconds later he comes back again. That's the only time I think he came back. But, and Tony Khan, by putting that out there saying, I was feared, he was afraid for his life. I'm thinking, come on, man, please. I mean, that might scare a 10-year-old kid, but you're a grown man and you own the place. And you got security around and he couldn't have got close to you because people would have pulled him back. What would make that relevant enough for Tony Khan to say I was feared for my life? And to me, I listened to Tony a lot. Now, I really like him when he's in a scrum. I love when he's in scrums and those eyes are wide open. And I'm thinking, I don't know how normal that behavior is. Those eyes are looking around.
Well, it's because he's always in fear for his life that he needs to have those big eyes to look for danger.
Hey, he's going to see this and he's going to send you
with his massive eyes. He's going to see this with his massive eyes. Look.
And I've said before, I met him, a nice guy. Maybe I didn't scare him enough. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. I've been thinking before, right? You know how you said, what's the worst T-shirt we agreed on? I think from that video from last week, Chris Hero's massive pink polo T-shirt that he was wearing, that was an outrageous piece of cloth he had draped upon his body. Yep,
that was it. I agree with you. I don't remember it, but I would agree with you.
You see, I'd play it. I'd play it out, but, we'll get taken down for it, but so I'll move on. Tony Khan says he has zero regrets showing the footage. So he has zero regrets, and the Young Bucks were also talking to SportsIllustrated.com about if they had second thoughts on airing the footage, and here's the quote, and they're probably in character when they say it. As EVPs, we're given a task for that week by the boss, and we did it to the best of our ability, zero regrets. And apparently Tony Khan agrees, and supposedly internally it's been said that Tony Khan has now moved on from the CM Punk incident. I mean, he's moved on 8 months after the incident, after he gets the last word.
I wonder why. No, I think he got mad because Punk said some stuff, and he just got pissed off. Oh, I'll show him, by God, I'll show what really happened. And it was exactly as CM Punk said. So he gave his side. He didn't care and put it out there. And he didn't really act all crazy like they were saying he was. And Samoa Joe coming in, he said, come on, man. Come on, Phil, stop. And he stopped. I don't know. That was blown way out of proportion.
Did you see Hook?
And did I see who?
Hook.
No, I didn't see him.
Sorry, because you'd miss him if you didn't see him. He was behind like a lighting thing, right? So he was actually right next to Samoa Joe the entire thing. And the funny thing is that for the entire minute, he doesn't move. He's just stood there, and he's just like the fight breaks out, or the scuffle breaks out, and he's like...
Well, he stayed in character, did he?
He stays in character.
That was great. That was great.
He puts his belt down on the floor nice and softly, and then he just strolls very, very slowly over, and that doesn't really do anything, then just walks back again.
Well, if you're not going to do anything, and he would probably he did what I'd probably do. I'd just stand back and watch it. And let me see how my safety was, or if it was going to come my way. And then I'd run. I'm a notorious chicken shit.
Like physically laconic. Very, I'd like to think Hook was. We're sort of on the same theme. Kenny Omega is talking about his relationship with CM Punk, which sort of raises more questions, really. So during his latest Twitch stream, Kenny Omega was asked about his relationship with CM Punk.
Okay, I want you to explain to me. What is Twitch? What is it?
Twitch is a platform primarily for gamers. So, I mean, you don't have to be a gamer.
Gay people.
Gay people are welcome, I'm sure, as much as anyone else. And
I'm going there today.
You play a game, and then you live stream the game, and then you live stream yourself talking at the same time, and then people give you money, I guess, if you're popular enough.
Mm-hmm.
So Kenny Omega is quite a well-known game streamer, Twitcher. Well, not a Twitcher, because that's bird watching, but a Twitch streamer. Anyway, Kenny Omega was asked about his relationship with CM Punk, and he said, the status with CM Punk right now, I don't know, it's just mutual respect. We reached out to each other. I can't really think of anyone that I dislike or have any issue with, or an issue with, especially an issue with wrestling.
Has he met me?
Have you met Kenny?
No.
Fair enough then. Well,
because that answer would be different if he'd met me.
Mm.
I would go out of my way to piss him off.
How would you do it?
I don't know. I'd keep working. And finally I'd reach that little sensitive point. I'd say, oh, I see it now. Then he'd come after me like he would be just so mad at me. And then, of course, I would take off. And what would I do? I would run. I'd run away. Yeah.
On the back of Jack Swagger. So you'd be like,
I would. Hey, Jack really was a great protector of me, by the way.
Well, there you go. He's an AEW as well, so you could just roll up to an AEW show. When
Is he still there?
Jack is.
You never see Jack.
Oh no, he's in witness protection. They've given him he used to have a purple hat. They've given him like a red hat now, so that you can't recognize him. Continue with the Kenny Omega bit. So he says, no issue with anyone in wrestling, especially it's not like, hey, we're good now. We were never bad. Honestly, if it weren't for a complete other factor, we would have been able to have that talk on the night of Brawl Out. There's no issue between him and I, as far as I know. Omega laughed. I don't think there is at all. And they said there's another thing too, guys. I don't want to seem standoffish or secretive about what happened. Yes, there are legalities and all that stuff, but even if there wasn't, and I know this is going to sound weird because I've done a lot of comedy stuff in wrestling, but like I'm actually a huge fan of not a huge fan of pulling back the curtain on stuff that doesn't need to be out in public. So even if he could talk about Brawl Out, he wouldn't. But it's a weird thing to wonder where.
And
Kenny
now he's talking about Brawl Out.
Well, not the specifics of the evening, but basically he's never had an issue with CM Punk, according to him. So Kenny Omega doesn't have an issue with Punk or anyone. CM Punk said that he was willing to talk to the Young Bucks at All In Wembley, and they refused a meeting or around that time. So is it the Young Bucks that's caused all this then?
No, I think Punk's done his fair share. But he never really got on. He would get on the Bucks. But who was the guy just talking about him?
Adam Page. Oh, Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega. He never really got on Kenny much. He must like Kenny. Now he got on Page because I think Page would be if he could he'd stir it up. But then again, you see, what is the boss for? The boss should take issues like that and defuse them, de-escalate whatever's going on, because, the internet's going to pick up anything, but the internet doesn't have to pick up anything at all when the guys are willingly putting it out there. That's their job. That's how they make money. They report on rumors or rumors of rumors. That's how they work. So, I think Page and the whole story about him, I heard, I don't know if this is true, but now I think it's the truth, that some people are trying to help him, some older guys or experienced guys would try to help him, and he'd say, I don't need any help. And he refused the help from a veteran, which I think pisses almost everybody off. Why would you even refuse it? Well, you can refuse it. That's his prerogative. He can refuse it, but to publicly dictate that he doesn't want it, I know enough, so I don't need to know it. That's like, it's like an insult after the guy tried to help you. Or saying, nah, your work's the shits anyway, so I don't need to take anything from you. And just for that, I don't know. But I think the whole thing was blown out of proportion. Of course, I think Tony Khan doing it in the first place, talking about it, then releasing this footage. Did he get a rating out of it?
That's a good question. Off the top of my head, I think the rating jumped on that segment to like 888,000. Then the next segment lost. I think after two segments, they'd lost well over 100,000. So people did tune in for that, and then they dropped out again.
Mm-hmm. Well, but the ones that tuned in were disappointed.
I think the real thing will be what this week's Dynamite rating is. I think that's going to be the one that's really going to be interesting.
Okay, if they drop this is my belief. If they dropped out right after it, I don't think they're going to be coming back after they saw how it was nothing. It was a no factor. It was a nothing burger, as they say.
Do you know what I think? Is that most people have done what I did and just wait for the footage itself to be released on social media the next day.
That's a damn good idea.
Because if you're only tuning in for 1 minute's worth of security camera footage, most people aren't going to watch Dynamite to see it. They'll just wait until someone posts it.
Okay, what is the highest rating they've ever had on Dynamite?
The first ever
it went over 1 million, didn't it?
The first ever episode was 1.4 million.
I predicted close to that. I said it'll be 1,250,000 to 1.5 million. I mean, that give me a 250,000 person buffer. And then from then on, it drops, and it did. Same way when I was with TNA, when we would have a decent rating to start off with, and it took months and months and months to even get it there. But will it stay? I used to keep telling them, guys, that's a great rating, but how many is going to come back and tune back in? Oh, we got them now. I said, you think? Well, we'll see next week. Next week. It was like, it just bottoms out.
We are going to move on. Nikki Bella to AEW potentially. Earlier this week, the former Nikki Bella mentioned on a podcast that she recently considered reaching out to Tony Khan about making an in-ring return. However, Nikki eventually decided she would be unable to take time away from her young son, Mateo. Kane.
What's his name?
Mateo. Matteo. That's how you
Mateo.
pronounce it, isn't it? Khan was asked about Nikki's comments during an appearance on the Battleground podcast and responded that he considers the Garcia twins like family. Khan said, if Nikki Garcia ever wanted to come to AEW, I would be very interested in that. I think the world of it. I have so much respect for Nicole and Brie. They're like family to us because Brian is like a part of my family, and that makes Brie and Nicole part of the family. I have so much respect for the both of them, and if Nikki was interested in coming to AEW, we would love to have it's all greyed out, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we'd like to have her around. Nikki Bella then. So would you have any interest in Nikki Bella turning up? Apparently she was inspired by Mercedes Moné's turn up in AEW recently.
Why would she turn up? I mean, she can make some good money, but I don't think she needs money. She's not looking for money. And if she turned up, no. This is what I think. She's been out of wrestling for 3 years, 4 years, more?
Full time, yeah. She's probably been out more. I think the last time that Nikki and Brie had an appearance was in the 22 Royal Rumble, which is only a couple of minutes, but yeah.
You know, making an appearance can be harmful.
Yeah.
In her other endeavors. Because if she gets back and if she doesn't fulfill the fans' ideas of her, she can actually do harm to her other career, more or less. And I think they're the way they think of themselves, you know, they would have to train, and they would train just not to embarrass themselves. Because after you get away from wrestling 3 years, 4 years more, you know, how you going to do if you actually, and I don't think she would even go there for a match. I don't think that, but she may be in a ring. So how would she look in a ring? There's a lot of thought goes into that. I don't think we'll see her back. I really don't, because she has no reason to come back unless Tony has a reason that she could help on, or Brian Danielson. What's the name he goes for?
No, it's Brian Danielson now.
Brian Daniels or Danielson?
Danielson.
Okay. So that was his first name, right?
Yeah. Well, Brian Danielson is his real name.
Okay. Unless it was to help him or something, you know, I don't think she'd even consider it. But good luck to her.
I like how she said that. Well, I think it was like Mercedes Moné's debut in AEW, like, inspired her. But like every other week since,
what inspires her?
Well,
she did nothing.
She still hasn't done anything. She's still not wrestled. The AEW rankings, she skipped to get a belt or whatever, but she's still not wrestled yet for it. All she's done is do promos.
Thank you.
Of which that is
the
weakest.
I love you. Oh God, you know. I don't get it. That really, she doesn't need money either. If she made all that money they were saying she was making in Japan, which she didn't, I don't think they're exactly stupid with their money. Now, unless Tony wants to give her some god-awful sum of money, like, why don't you just go back to the vault, just take handfuls of money and just start throwing it at her, you know, and whatever you pick up is yours, you know. So, but I don't foresee her being in AEW, and of course her being family. I guess being family in AEW is different than being family in WWE. We see how Vince treated his family and around him. So, but no, I don't. And I know both those girls, but they would always speak to me. They would always say, "Hi, Dutch. How you doing?" Blah blah blah. Very nice, very friendly, and they would go out of their way to say hello. And I always found them very pleasant people to be with.
Did everyone call you Dutch in WWE apart from Vince, who called you Zeb?
That was banned.
Really?
Yes. Vince never called me Dutch. He always called me Zeb. Because his belief is Dutch at that point was dead and Zeb was alive. And what he was saying was, if you keep calling him Dutch, you may be on an interview one day and just inadvertently say Dutch. And that was a no-no.
One more thing to add with this. The also missing in action Dr. Britt Baker, DDS, added on a separate occasion, any female wrestler right now, if they can say the Bella Twins didn't inspire you in some way, you're lying. So I hadn't realised that the Bella Twins were so highly thought of and so influential in the industry. Is that a generational thing? So I never watched Total Divas. So is it a Total Divas thing, or is it their appearances on TV?
Okay, well, I don't think they would inspire me because they weren't that. Their in-ring work wasn't anything special. They were two very attractive women, I'll say that. But what are you going to learn from the Bellas? They had good stuff in the ring. Yeah, it was pleasant, but I don't know if they could say, if you could call it inspiring. Well, I could if I was a WWE diva. But then if I said they weren't inspiring, then I'm just lying. Right? That's what you said. So if you want the term liar attached next to your name, if you're a female wrestler in WWE, just say that the Bellas didn't inspire you. And you can automatically join the Liars Club.
We're going to go to WWE. So, and you were asking for some more Vince McMahon stuff. And of course, Vince is the gift that keeps on giving for podcasts such as ours.
Hey, I got a bitch.
Oh, okay.
People love the bitch of the week. So Vince needs to do something. He needs to come out with something that's all over the place. Remember when we did our first clip of Vince? I just did it on the show, and you guys clip it out and put it for public consumption. But it did 400,000 views. And I went, damn, is that what it takes? Because you learn every business a little bit at a time. I've learned about podcasting business that if you really kind of be negative with somebody, that'll get people to listen to it. They won't listen to it if you're saying, oh, he was a great guy and he did this, he did that. That's why I think the Bella Twins I just did won't get any views, because who wants to see Dutch says the Bella Twins were nice backstage? I got it. Well, what makes you want to read it? What if they read the Bella Twins were two drunk ass bitches backstage? Oh, I got to see what he's saying now. Oh, he said this. Okay, I got to go over there. But Vince needs to come up with something more, like the using the bathroom and
hasn't he done enough? Hasn't Vince?
Oh
done enough?
No, Vince can never do enough.
Well,
I'm ready to hear more dirt on Vince.
I'm not sure there's dirt so much, but it's interesting. It's historical, really. On April 12th, Vince McMahon made available his remaining 8,021,405 shares in TKO. That is the entirety of the remaining equity in his TKO WWE portfolio. So after these are gone, he'll be fully divorced from WWE. As of last Friday, the value of this stock would have been around $786 million. So this will be the fifth and final sale of stocks by Vince, with McMahon making all told some $2.3 billion pre-tax.
Now think about that. $2.3 billion out of the wrestling business that used to be considered trashy entertainment. And people, I read this the other day, people soon forget, how Vince started all this stuff. And he didn't start wrestling, of course, but he took it and he molded it and he changed it in such a way that he could sell his stock now for $2.3 billion.
Some would say ruined it. Would you say he ruined wrestling?
Hell no. He didn't ruin wrestling. It's doing the best now it's ever done. Who said it ruined it?
Oh, I don't know. The Jim Cornettes of the world, I think, would say he's ruined wrestling, sports entertainment, and that kind of thing.
Sports entertainment, what is that anyway? He ruined it. But he didn't ruin it, no. Because you can't ruin wrestling. You can't kill it either. I've tried for like 50 years to kill it, and I still can't kill it. I tried to kill a town in Puerto Rico one time by just making all the people happy and sending them home. And the next week, 50 more people showed up. I went, well, damn. And I had done it on purpose, really. I didn't want to go to the town every week. And so I put all the baby faces over and, just did a little diligence in just to make the promoters think that I give a crap about it. Hell, the house went up another 50 people. Then the next week they called me and they said, what are you doing in that town that's coming up? And I was trying to kill it, but I couldn't tell them that. So the territory just got hot, and I said, well, damn, maybe I just quit thinking about it and I just thought about two angles, and that's what I based on. All the other angles underneath, I didn't care. Let the good guy win. Let's all go home happy. Except for that last one, which was what I wanted them to remember, and they would remember that. So, but what was I saying?
Well, do you know it's quite
You can't ruin it. You can't ruin it. No.
Well, the next question was, and some people have advanced this, and these aren't just crazy people, but some people of repute here and there, I'm sure.
How do you know they're not crazy?
I don't know. We're all crazy after all these years, as Paul Simon sang. Do you think Vince McMahon will start another promotion? And some people in the know are saying that maybe he will.
Now, okay, who are these people in the know? Would you consider me that, okay?
Well, you're in the know. You're in the know.
I'm in the know.
Well, maybe Vince's personal trainer. He seems to know everything about Vince and wrestling.
He does. So. He does know. He may. Do I think he'll start it? Hell no. And the reason they mentioned he's too old to start something. He just wants to, if he just wants to be the boss, he wouldn't have to start one. He could just take one over. That's already got to like the background already laid down, already got a little team. Hell, he could go into business with Tony Khan. Now that would be news. That would be news that we could sit back and we could talk about Tony Khan and Vince McMahon going into business together. What do you think of that idea? Do you think it'd be newsworthy?
It'd be newsworthy. I think that would be highly unlikely. I think he'd be more likely to buy like TNA.
Why?
I don't know. More of a challenge. You've got some recognizable names there that you can build up. I don't know.
So does AEW. They got Jericho. They got some people there. I mean, not drawing any money or turning any ratings, but still. But see, you don't have to have all these big names to draw money. Get them over on your own TV. That's what it's for. You can't take another character on another TV and all of a sudden you bring him over. Oh, we're going to draw. Here he is, and just bring him in and do an interview like Mercedes Monet did. Told everybody she loved them and thank you, thank you, thank you, and wherever she was, Boston.
You know, she's done like 5 interviews now, and that's it. All she does is do interviews of ever decreasing quality.
See, that's going to draw you nothing. Zero. I mean, get out there and beat the living crap out of her, or do something. Mess her hair up, trip her, anything.
Why don't I give you a couple of pros and cons for
Well,
Vince?
wait a minute, you never answer my question.
Oh, okay.
Don't you think Vince and Tony Khan together would be, I mean, I'm saying good for us, good for podcasters.
Yeah, it would be calamitous for wrestling, therefore good for us.
I don't even think it'd be calamitous for wrestling. I think it might help it.
Really? Because Vince's creative's awful. These last few years, he's horrendous.
Vince's creative may have gotten, but hey, after you do something for 60 years, after a while, you reach that limit of nothing is new anymore, and it doesn't excite you anymore. So, and that's why Vince.
Are you talking about sex life here or wrestling?
What I'm saying, that's why he had that second life that made it interesting for him. Wasn't legal, and he may get sued for, and he may need that $2.3 billion to pay out some of these settlements.
Well, he might end up probably, who knows, he might give a lot of it to his kids. So in case, he's sued for everything he's got, then, they can't go after all the money. Who knows?
No, he gives it to his kids like they need it.
No, but I mean, maybe he'd rather give it to his kids than lose it in a legal matter.
Well, I would do that too. But what's your question?
Well, let me give you a couple of pros and cons.
Better be a damn good one too.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I won't know until I ask it. So, the barriers. He's 78 years old.
Yep.
There's no name talent out of contract unless you want to start a promotion with Ryback and Goldberg. And that's about it. He has a terrible
and Jimmy Cornette.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe.
See?
Well, you're going to come up in a future question in a second, actually. So here's the reasons that he might. He could still broker a TV deal because, he's still got a towering reputation within the business.
Yeah.
He might be super bored of his life floating around aimlessly on a boat. He has billions to spend.
Is he on a boat?
I figure. I can see him as an old sailor.
I cannot see Vince on a boat.
I bet he wears a little hat and he tells people to call him Cappy.
Hi, matey. And he's looking through that one little deal, they look at it and they're not seeing nothing. Hey, matey, on the horizon.
And he's got and obviously he's got a parrot. Who reassures him that he will win this
and he's got a fake leg.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's got a peg leg, yeah.
He's got a fake quad because, he tore his quads that time. He has some big names like John Cena and The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar who are still loyal to him. So you never know if he invests money, at some point, who knows, maybe he could lure 1 or 2 or 3 big names over.
Yeah, he could, and he could be their source of money in their declining years. How old is Undertaker now?
Late 50s? 58, maybe?
Okay.
I don't know what number I'm going to pull out here, but if Vince McMahon started a new promotion, would you take a booking job with Vince if it paid well enough?
Oh, if it paid well enough.
Would you be a mercenary?
Hell yeah. I would prostitute myself like there's no tomorrow. And I'd sign an ironclad deal that he couldn't fire me no matter what. And on the first week, I wouldn't do it the first day. I'd have like a stroke. And they got to lay me down, and I'm going, hey, looking around, who's in the room? Vince in here? No. Oh, goddamn. Oh, here's Vince. I'd go back into it.
Hey, if there's one thing you don't want to do in a room with Vince McMahon is lay down on your back.
Stop it. Now, I knew as soon as come up with that. You would come up with something to ruin it. No, I don't think
you might
Vince,
get more than you bargained for. Is all I'm saying.
well, I've already got like say 100 million. He wouldn't pay a booker 100 million. $1 million. I'd do it for $1 million. I'm cheap. You know.
Undertaker's 59. He just had his birthday a few weeks ago, March 24th.
Okay.
Vince is now keeping busy travelling, including to Italy. He's hanging about with Donald Trump, but apparently does not discuss their legal issues together. And working out, of course. The article from NBC where this information has been published also says he has not talked to Stephanie or Triple H regarding WWE business.
But he has talked to them.
He must have talked to them, yeah. But apparently not about WWE business. So, hey,
They
maybe
may
he's divorced
be
from it.
well. They may be banned from talking anything about the business.
The last thing is, it's said that on a recent trip he bought and brought home 7 kittens and a puppy to give away to friends.
That's so sweet.
He's on the welcome wagon of forgiveness.
Oh
isn't
yeah. Oh, he's an animal lover. See, Vince, he does have his soft side, really. I mean, people saying all these things about him, but he's a animal lover at heart. So that says something about him.
Apparently, Vince has a cat obsession, and a few years ago, he had no less than 19 cats roaming around his mansion. So basically, he's actually a crazy old woman at this point as well, just having a house full of cats.
Now, he didn't have a cat obsession, did he?
19 cats. I mean, that's pretty...
Who said that?
Oh, that was a few years ago. This is an article from 2019. I pulled that up, that he had just a house full of cats.
I find that hard to... I would, when I would look at Vince, of course, I hadn't been around him as much as a lot of other people.
Or his
cats. A lot of other people. Or his cats either. But that'd be the last thing I would think about Vince, is that he'd be a cat lover. I really would. Would you fashion him by loving a cat? Hey, isn't this supposed to be about wrestling? Why are we talking about cats?
Let's stick with wrestling then. Let's stick with wrestling.
Right,
SmackDown last Friday. You watched it? You did watch it, didn't you?
No, not last Friday. I didn't.
I
was sick last Friday. Yes.
Oh.
I felt like I didn't feel good last week at all.
Did you? Was this after we recorded last Thursday? You seemed fine. You didn't mention it.
Thursday was before Friday.
Yes. Well, there you go.
Then
well, you probably caught my cold off me somehow. I mean, I've given it to everybody else. I mean,
okay, what happened on SmackDown?
Well, I'd sort of assumed you'd seen it. So it's the debut of Tama Tonga, but instead of you not knowing what it is, we're going to watch it and then we're going to talk about it. So give us, well, for you, it'll be nothing. One sec. Okay, we're back. Right, we watched the segment, so you know what you're saying. The first thing was, does Heyman wear a lot of makeup, or is he just very jaundiced?
No, they wear a lot of makeup because he is like he's never even walked out in the sun. I mean, his face is so white, he could light up a room. Just the face going in the room, there's lights all over the wall.
Is he translucent almost?
But yeah, he's really, and he uses makeup and a lot of it. Oh, so what's the point of the makeup?
Just never break up. With all right,
I would hate to make like a 300-mile trip with you. We'd be so insane by the end of it. Oh, what the hell?
No,
but that was a good segment, and it was a good segment by not including Tonga in it, because now people are not thinking about him, and so when he comes at the end with the hood on, you know, for that brief 5 seconds, you don't know who it is. Is it his brother?
Tama Tonga is the son of Haku. So
yeah, but I'm saying the people
of course,
thinking they only know, they've only seen the brother. Tonga's not even in their thoughts right now, unless they'd read about it somewhere. But they did that good. They introduced him well in a segment that meant something. Now the storyline goes, who's in charge of it? Is it going to be Roman? Because I don't think the people know that Roman's gone right now.
Well, Solo Sikoa has taken the reins, so to speak. He's now the new head of the table.
What about The Rock?
Well, that's the thing, really, because Roman Reigns has gone, The Rock has gone as well. So now there's sort of now a brand new chapter of the Bloodline.
Yeah, it's another chapter. Now we got to watch to see how this unveils. And this changes everybody's dynamics within the family. Now, Paul Heyman may not have such a strong influence over Solo, and we'll see that. It will all be new to me. It will all be new to everybody. And now Solo and Tonga taking it over, and they probably gave the brother some time off, let him go away. He's not going to be forgotten. But when they bring him back, and they have time to think this out. And when they need something for a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam, they're going to plug him back in, and let's see if the car starts. And I think that was the only thing I fear is there's another brother out there too, right? Tonga and who?
Oh, I think Haku Tangaloa. I think Haku's got
Tangaloa.
I think it's Tangaloa as well. I think Haku's got like 3 sons in wrestling at the moment.
Well, damn. How many can we have? All of them? Yeah, we can if we wanted to. But they're going to have to juggle these in a way that you're not like all of a sudden overcome with Samoans.
I mean, with wrestling, it's been overcome with Samoans for years. Do you remember years ago when, you won't do because you were in Puerto Rico at the time, but Rikishi turned bad guy on apparently ran over Steve Austin. It was a terrible storyline, it really was. And he said he ran over Steve Austin because the Island brothers, the Samoans and all that kind of thing, weren't getting a fair shake in wrestling. It's like, Samoans have like overachieved in wrestling like no other race. And the funny thing is like Yokozuna was champion just a few years earlier. How much bigger can you get? And The Rock's the biggest star.
Yeah.
How much bigger can you get? So anyway.
Well, he said they're not getting their worth.
Well, yeah, apparently so.
They've been stepped over. No, they stepped over a lot of people, and it started with Afa and Sika. They were the first Samoans, and I met them actually right when I got into business. But if you see, Sika looks a lot. Sika looks, I think, meaner than Afa, right?
Mm-hmm.
He looks a lot rougher. But they're, when you talk to them, just as nice as they can be. So.
Did you ever see High Chief Peter Maivia wrestle? Or
I never saw him wrestle. Never met him either. I just seen pictures of him.
I'm just looking at Sika now. Yeah, I think you might be right. The only other thing I'll mention is I think it's funny that Paul Heyman tries to call Roman Reigns as if Roman Reigns has no other way of finding out. Like he's on a desert island with one.
Like he doesn't have a TV. Yeah. Like he doesn't have a TV with cable. He's in a room or he's at home. He's not watching it.
He's got a hardwired line.
Yeah, and he's not reading about it after yin yang since that happened. But he was going to call him. Was that what it was supposed to be? He was on the phone to him?
Yeah. Call Roman
Okay,
Reigns.
so now if he's not in charge of the bloodline, I mean, that's self-explanatory. When he comes back, should be a big deal.
Babyface?
Oh, he'll be a babyface, but you got to watch out. And actually, I think they're going to if they make anybody babyface, first. I guess it should be Roman because look at The Rock. He's got all this time that he missed in wrestling. Now he's got to come back. It's got to play out somewhere. So he's got to have some time to make his run very, very successful, and it will be. So, and I think the people already respect Roman a lot. And it's kind of odd that the fans respect a heel character like they respect him. And it'd be very easy because you got these two guys, they're coming up. They didn't pay their dues like, Roman did. And they were there watching him pay the dues and all this. And I mean, this will be a story. It's a textbook story already. And it's had time to play out. People's had time to think about it. And I think now you'll even have people who don't even follow wrestling could tell you the story. That's what good fairy tales do. You may not be a fairy tale fan, but after you've heard it and it's built up so much that you'll end up knowing the story yourself. That's what they've done here. And it's been done. I put this on a tweet. It's been retweeted. It's a textbook story. And they have booked this like it would tell you to. And if there was a book about wrestling written, they would tell you to write the story exactly like they've written it. Maybe not exactly, but in the same way. Because they got their heels over, and the heels got the other heels over that just joined them, and they were just over because of osmosis. You like that word? Osmosis is just by associating with the bad guys. So they were automatically bad guys. So I really like the way they did this.
Next up, Rhea Ripley vacates the women's title. So during a backstage segment on the previous week's WWE Raw, Rhea Ripley was attacked by Liv Morgan, including Liv shoving it into a wall. Didn't look like anything major at the time. Have you seen this? It's only a few seconds.
No.
No? Okay. Well, but it
looks like nothing that's said.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything major. Anyway, a few days later, a rumour goes around saying that Rhea was badly hurt in the backstage fracas and that she would be vacating the WWE Women's title, which she indeed did, to a lot of people's surprise. It was like befuddlement, I guess, at one point, because it just seemed so unlikely that people couldn't even figure out how she was injured at first. So Rhea's wall bump ended up spraining her AC joints, and her shoulder will take some 3 months to get sorted. So some people were complaining that, well, Seth Rollins, didn't have to vacate the title for an injury with a similar recovery period, and that Rhea Ripley does. But the difference is that... Yes. Go
ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say the difference is that Seth Rollins' injury was in the run-up to WrestleMania, and now Rhea Ripley, WrestleMania's done, and there wasn't really anything important on the horizon.
Well, I would say if did Seth tell them that he was injured that badly?
Yeah, and he was given about 2 to 3 months recovery period as well.
Did he take them?
Yeah, he did.
Well, I think her situation, I'm not saying injury was different, but every injury would be different, I would think. But I think this is a good thing for her, not getting hurt. But I'm saying now she gives a little live. You only live once. I think that gives her time to get started and for them to start talking about, oh, when she gets back, and all Liv's got to say, I don't give a crap. I'll hurt her other shoulder this time. I'll let her leave in a wheelchair. And let her say that enough. Now you'll want to see her get her little butt handed to her on the platter. And that's good if they can. And the girls' feuds, I think, actually sometimes are better than the men's feuds. Because, it's just a different animal. It's just a different being. So I'm looking forward to see how it plays out. Now, for the people who are saying, well, Raleigh's good here and he didn't have to take time off. Well, they got an investment in all these people, and they don't need them to be hurt, bothered, or anything that can damage them, because they want them, when they do get ready, they want them to produce. So I bet you Rollins, Seth, says, no, he's a guy, and he can tough through it anyway. He came up kind of the old school way. He come through the independence, and then he went to Ring of Honor before it became the Ring of Honor that it turned into. And different story, very different story. So, yeah, but comparing the two, they're not even similar to each other, really, I don't think.
It's like having rankings in wrestling that doesn't matter. I mean, it's just the rules hard. It shouldn't be so hard and fast, because it's whatever's better for the story, which is the point of pro wrestling in the first place.
Okay, well, let me ask you this: who do you think asked Rhea, to vacate the belt? Somebody had to ask her. She just didn't go out there on her own and do it, and it wasn't her idea, I'm sure.
It just would have been a creative process, and they thought, well, because I think you've already touched on it already, is that she didn't really have much to do after WrestleMania. So it's all, and she's been the champion for a year. So, I mean, it's almost not a fortuitous injury, but having her unbeaten for the title, which gives her an immediate feud, 2 feuds, one with Liv Morgan, then one with the incumbent champion, whoever that is, in a few months. So it sort of writes the story for another 6 to 8 months for her in that sense.
Well, they have time to think about it, time to work on it. And, but I think she took the time off because she is legitimately hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the only way they're going to ask somebody, because vacating a belt, WWE fans, they're not used to that. That's something new. So if you're not able to defend it, which brings up another point, the old standing rule in wrestling that it has to be defended every 30 days. That's an old rule in wrestling. But I think that could play in here too, somehow. And I think they need to have a rule like that, because Roman, they said he would have never got, how many days did he have? 1,300 or 1,200?
3 years, or something like that, yeah.
Something like that. If he was able to defend that title every 30 days, that it would have meant more. But it also would mean more. You would have to go to these house shows, these live events, and have him go over and win. And you run a chance of pissing your fans off. Because I've said it a lot of times, people come see the good guy win. They won't come see him lose. So if they figure that he is going to lose, just how I don't know. Unless you just come to see WWE. But I think what Roman has done, he's taken that character and he's got it over to in the stratosphere now. And watch what he does in the ring. He don't do nothing. He just takes his time and walks around and holds the finger up, and and say something to Paul Heyman every now and then. But because it's a slow boil. It's a slow process. And he works it. Now you've seen some guys go in there and they work 90 miles a minute. Slow the hell down. That's one of the things I used to learn when I'd get in the ring with an old timer. Slow down. Now I know why he told me to slow down. He said, you're not going to get to where these other guys over are by speeding it up with me. It is not going to work. So what do you say I'm happy for anyway? And after I was there a while and got comfortable, now I could slow it down a little bit. Now I could look around and see what was going on. See, if you're too busy making a comeback and doing all this stuff all at one time, you're not taking anything in. You're putting it out, but you're not taking anything in. So that's what they were trying to tell me.
New tag team titles, the physical belts debut, so most consider it an improvement, although the absolute roundness of the front plates, some aren't keen on. But Triple H...
Do you have a picture of that?
I can bring one up in a sec. Triple H on WWE Raw debuts the newly designed WWE World Tag Team titles. What are your thoughts on the new belts and those hideous old belts that they had for the tag titles that look like a coin, like a Roman thing? I'll get the new ones up 1 second. That's still Heyman. There we go. That is the new WWE Tag Team titles. Not buying it?
Nah. Because I don't like the round belts. I mean, I'll get used to it like everybody else will. But World Tag Team title champion. Oh, tag team champions. Yeah, it's a pretty belt. It really is. And
what's up with the roundness then? What puts you off about the...
I just don't... It just looks cheaper than it should, I think. I mean, it should... I like... What was the last belt? What was wrong with the last belt?
Oh, it's hideous. Hang on.
Well, let me see it.
No, one sec. Where was it? Whoops. Can you see it?
Which one?
The blue one, the one in the big picture.
Oh. Well, I didn't like the blue. I think it should just be black and gold. That's what I think. Well, that's a round one too, almost.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's round and then folded inwards.
But I didn't like it.
Like a bent penny.
I don't like it. Yeah. I mean, it's not whether I like it or not, but I guess whoever likes those type of belts, they like the round model for it. I don't like it. I like the one that's called the World Tag Team Champion WWE. Next to it.
Oh, I see. This one?
It's between the, you see the red one there?
I've lost the red one.
Oh, that right there. Yes. I like that better. Much better.
Yeah, but that's the all-time classic. I don't know why. I mean, is it just that they're trying to
that's
sell
what
more
I would
replicas?
Use.
Well, yeah, they've already got these designs, and everyone loves these designs. Why don't they just use that one? The IC title from the late 80s to the late 90s. And, in fact, I'm going to get off this now. There we go. Cody Rhodes has also said, because he had success temporarily bringing back the Intercontinental title design, the famous one everyone likes, is that he's going to try his best to bring back the Winged Eagle belt to replace the undisputed WWE
Now, I want to see that one. What is the Winged Eagle?
The Winged Eagle. Bear with me one minute. Let me grab
What
it.
is that?
Okay, let me just Google it. So, do Winged Eagle. Whoops. Oh, there you go. I mean, it's on the website. Damn cookies. There we go. That is the Winged Eagle.
That's it?
That is it, yeah. Not that impressed with it?
No, not really. I see the top of the eagle's head and the wings. I got that. It looks like he's in reverse, though, for some reason.
Well, give us a
I don't know.
Give us a better belt then. What belt would you prefer?
Well, pull them up again.
Hang on.
I like the red in the belt.
Oh, look.
The red needs to have blood. You fought for it.
These are all new ones.
Oh, these are ones for sale?
Oh, yeah. You can get everything for sale these days.
Who makes these belts? It's different people?
WWE makes their own versions. You can get more bespoke.
No, they contract.
Well.
They contract them to different people.
I suspect so. Yeah. If you want, I can't remember who makes like some of the more bespoke belts, but you can get the bespoke belts. You know, higher quality leather, better plating, and all that kind of thing.
Bespoke.
But also,
what's that mean?
Hang on.
Bespoke.
See, I can put it.
See, you use these words, and
specially made for a particular person.
Oh, bespoke. Oh, okay. Bespoke.
What about that one?
Nah, I hate it.
Well, the round one.
I hate anything with the round ones. I don't like them.
Okay, then. What about the big gold belt, then? Let's just have a big gold belt.
Hey, I hate belts that fill you in from here all the way down below your belt line. Like you can't even move. You can't even move.
What about Magnum TA Mid-South Belt? What about this one that engulfs Magnum TA almost completely from Mid-South?
Yeah, that's too much. That's too big.
That might be the worst belt in the world. I hate that belt. And then, of course, AEW goes and models their belt after that one. To
me, it's too intricate. That's what I think. I don't know.
Okay, I'll give you one more.
One belt is like all of them, I think, you know. Oh, the Dow Jones at 38,000 a day. That's good.
There you go. What about the Western States Heritage title? That's my favorite.
That one?
Yeah.
Still too big in the middle, I think.
Really?
I think. Well, you're just asking me whether I like it or not.
Okay, I'll give you one that I like, and this is, I think, the last really good belt that WWE made. Let's find it. The UK title. Can you see that? The WWE
United
NXT.
Kingdom champion.
I really like that belt design. So I've got a belt behind me there.
You like it?
Yeah, I nearly bought that.
I love it.
Are you just saying that because I like it, or you are, aren't you?
Oh, it's okay, but it's still too big in the middle.
It's quite small, I think. I mean, if you
wore really? I got to see it in context.
Well, there's Gunther holding it.
Well, that's okay. It's a nice looking belt.
Anyway.
But the deal is, if they have so many belts, then actually I think that takes away from the belt's worth, the actual one. I think.
Mm.
But I bet their belt business is good. How much? What do they sell these belts for?
Oh, that the UK replica was about $600.
Yeah. But, and they subcontract these belts. I bet they sell a lot of belts.
Oh God, yeah.
They sell a lot of them, and
thousands.
One guy or 10 guys, they probably got a bunch of guys making these belts. Making a belt is a really a tedious process. I've heard they got to make them and let them sit overnight and then cool down and then do something else to them and
tan the hide.
Yeah, and all that stuff. It takes a while to get a belt. So I think I'm gonna buy me one.
You should do.
I'm gonna call WWE up and I'm gonna tell them this is what I'm gonna tell them. You got me on screen.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna tell them. I'm part of the media.
Call Dave Milliken. I think he still makes them.
Yeah. Oh, Dave Milliken. I'm gonna tell him you said that.
I didn't call him old. I just said call Dave Milliken, not old Dave Milliken.
I thought you said old Dave Milliken.
Oh, no, he's probably middle-aged.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, give him a ring. I think he still makes
He used to live about, 100 miles from me, maybe.
Oh, yeah?
When I lived in Nashville. Yeah. So this is when I first got interested in being like a podcaster, or was then. Because they, I actually went down to his house. They invited me down, and they gave me, I forgot what it was, a pretty good little chunk of change just for an afternoon. And I went down there, and I just sit around for an hour and a half, and just talk wrestling and took questions.
Mm.
And I enjoy that, and people enjoy that. So everybody got what it was worth, and I talked about everybody. I knocked everybody I could. I would have knocked you, James, but I didn't know you at the time.
No, I understand.
I would have put the big knock in.
You've got plenty of time to make up for it.
You always want to talk about my hair for some reason. Listen, I don't need any help with this hair. And furthermore, if say I did, say it was, you could see my scalp. would I have to go to the doctor and sit in there and talk to him and let him do all kind of things, and then it would be embarrassed? Would I have to do that or no?
No, absolutely not. Thanks to, and I'm glad you mentioned it, Keeps. We've got a new product to talk about today, and it's Keeps. And if you want Keeps a head of hair like Dutch Mantell, so I'm told that 35-year-olds, 2 out of 3 35-year-olds are now suffering with, or at least got some symptoms of hair loss. So if you are in that range and you're suffering hair loss, you don't have to be 35, you can be younger, you can be older, then maybe you want a head of hair as luscious as Dutch Mantell's, and you don't even have to go to the doctors for it. You can go onto keeps.com. You can fill in an online questionnaire, and a medical professional will sort you out with a tailor-made treatment plan just for you as well. And the best thing is, once again, you don't have to go to the doctors. It is delivered to your door discreetly, and there are 3 and 6 and 12-month plans as well that you can cancel anytime. How does that sound, Dutch?
Well, it sounds great. Hey, I see a lot of guys, they come up to me and they say, you dye your hair, right? Seriously, folks, this is true. I do not dye my hair. I don't even dye my beard anymore. But if I was getting thin on top, and now that I know about Keeps, I could tell them about Keeps now. Keeps sounds exactly like some guys that I know, and they are about 35, they're about 40. And when I go around them, I always do this. I go, oh boy, great hair day. Of course, they have no hair. They're embarrassed. And I'm laughing. But, they always said, you got hair because you're dyeing it. But that's not the point. The point is that I have hair. I'm a little bald back here. But other than that, I think I've aged quite well, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But the thing is, most people aren't as fortunate as you, Dutch, as you're tousling your hair in front of those less fortunate in the follicular department. But Keeps provides products to prevent hair loss, stimulating hair growth, and taking care of existing hair at the same time with only science-backed, FDA-approved treatment options, as well as hair-thickening shampoos to help get some thickness back in your thatch as well. You should try the shampoo, and we'll see if it feels thicker for you.
I will.
Well.
You can send me some?
Certainly what Keeps. Send Dutch some, absolutely. And no, I think they've actually started sending you some already, so you should get it soon. So we'll have a report back for that. But most men notice a positive difference after using Keeps after 6 months of treatment, and with 1 million people treated thanks to Keeps over the past 6 years, and with over 5,000 5-star reviews, Keeps has also given the listeners and viewers of Storytime with Dutch Mantell a special link to get a special deal on the whole thing as well. Do you want to tell us what the link is, Dutch?
Keeps.com/Dutch Mantell.
That's the spirit. So the link is in this video's description. It is in the audio podcast version in the description, and it's also going to be in the comments section as well. So please do support them as they have supported us at Storytime with Dutch Mantell.
Okay, so
next one is, we're going to move on. Chad Gable turns heel. So you saw, how much did you see?
I did see that.
Right, tell me.
Oh, it was great. That is the way you need to do it. Because it was totally unaffected. I mean, no, what I meant to say is unexpected, but it affected people in the way that you want them affected. He was sitting in a ring. I love Gable because he reminds me of Angle. And he was sitting in the corner, and oh God, it's so emotional for him. Oh God. And here's Sammy begging him, come on now. And he's on his knees, and he goes up to him and he said, hey, this is, I love you, brother. And you didn't hear what they were saying, but you can feel it in. And and he got the belt. No. Then he got out of the ring. And his wife is there. They're in Montreal. They couldn't place it any better. His wife was there, and they were used to seeing her when he wrestled. Who did he wrestle? Roman?
Who was this?
In Montreal?
Yes, he did, yes. I mean, Roman, yeah.
And they've seen his wife on TV before, and so she's become like a little staple there at ringside. Hope they give her a check for this. And his kids are out there, and he went and kissed his wife and hugged her, and oh, honey, I love you. And it was very touching, really. And I don't know if you saw the kids, but you knew they were there. And all of a sudden, wham, he gets dropped. And it's Chad Gable, that bastard, comes out there when he's, his defenses are down when he's hugging his wife, and he just beats the crap out of him, and he'll have a ton of heat. And I like the way he does those interviews, because now he can talk about Sammy and his ugly kids and his ugly old lady, and saying who got the worst end of the deal. She can say, well, the wife did, because who would marry your ugly ass, and that would get him heat with the crowd and people. He'll be a good heel. But he's a heel not by beating people up, just by being just a butthole, an asshole. And the people respond to that. And he kind of makes you want to laugh too, because, that was Kurt Angle's deal, because you can kind of laugh at him too, till he got serious. Then I said, oh, hang on. Now, Chad Gable was on the Olympic team too, right?
Yeah, very high caliber.
Did he win anything?
Do you want me to? Let me just have a look at his Wikipedia, and I'll tell you what he won, if anything.
He didn't win anything in the Olympics, though, right?
Let me have a look. Amateur wrestling career, Minnesota High School state champion. He defeated Jordan Home 2-0 in the final of the 2012 U.S. Olympic trials in the 84-kilogram category. He progressed to the 2012 Summer Olympics, where he competed in the Greco-Roman style 84-kilogram event. He beat someone in the qualification round, but was eliminated from the competition in the next round by a fella from Cuba. So he did go to the 2012 London Olympics. So he was an Olympic athlete.
Mm-hmm. Well, he'll do well. Because I think I've been watching him, and I'm saying, and I'm seeing Kurt Angle in him. And I said, I wonder why nobody's popped to that. And I was thinking along the lines of bringing Kurt in as his mentor. And now you can always blame it on Kurt to put all these thoughts in his head and how to get noticed and how to do this, because they're not going to do nothing for you. They're going to try to hold you back at every turn like they did me. And see, Kurt brings everything back to himself. I mean, he's not ready to wrestle a match, but he can still get in the corner and do something like, if you win, I get 10 minutes with Kurt Angle or whatever. And people love that. Kurt could have the match by himself, really, because he's that good. And he could fake a heart attack and go down the corner. Oh, God. No, his heart is fine. No, it's not, dog. It's not really. It's fine. It would be entertaining. Then the actual match is like 2 minutes or something, and that's getting in there. But Chad Gable's going to do good. He's going to do really, really good.
Do you know why Chad Gable didn't do anything of note for years? Is because he is 5'8". And for Vince McMahon, that's too short.
Oh, yeah.
So then he becomes Shorty G, and then he's wasted and blah, blah, blah. But he's been like an internet darling within WWE for years. And with good reason. He's great. He's always been really good.
I liked it better when they took it down to the smaller guys, because the smaller guys have actually more personality than the big guys, because the big guys never had to use that personality.
Wardlow.
And I mean, I'm not, who?
Wardlow. Your favorite.
Oh, God. I don't even know if he can spell personality. I think, and I don't know why Tony said, hey, what's your gimmick? Which means not a gimmick, like go out and you like a damn Roman soldier or something. Just what's your deal? I mean, what are you getting over on? And Kurt Angle, of course, he started with that Olympic championship, and then he turned it into whatever he wanted to turn it. After a while, the people knew Kurt Angle. They knew him because he was like this and he's like that, and he will say this and he won't say that, and he didn't mind being the butt of the joke. That was Kurt's specialty, because a lot of guys, them being champion, oh no, you can't do that with me. Kurt loved that stuff, and when Kurt would get embarrassed, he'd have that look on his face, and it was comical to watch. And you could tell that Kurt was enjoying it too. And I bet he would ride down the road, think of ways to embarrass himself. So, and when you have somebody like that is not worried about how they come off, is how the match comes off, you got a winner with him, and he drew a ton of money.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Chad Gable, I think he was too good for most of the stuff. I never liked Alpha Academy. You know, him and Otis, and, you know, a lot of it was comedy.
Well, I kind of liked it for a while, but but then again, even doing comedy, you got to do it the right way. And if it's just comedy for the sake of comedy, I don't think they didn't make the grade on that one.
Next on the agenda is Return of Sheamus. So, Sheamus and his old theme song successfully returned to WWE action on WWE Raw this past Monday in a win against Ivar. Sheamus last wrestled August 2023 before bowing out for 8 months with a serious shoulder injury. Sheamus would post on social media just how awful the injury was, because no one seemed to know until these last few days. The quote, "The road back to the ring is slow, rough, and unimaginably painful. 2 months ago, I thought I was hanging up my boots for good, but a lot of doctors, trainers, and physios helped me get cleared to do what I love, fight." So, it's not really the match or even the return of Sheamus that I'm bringing this up. A lot of people, and you mentioned fat shaming before when we saw that video in the first one, and that's not fat shaming. She's just fat. Loads of people are fat shaming Sheamus, like that he's put on a few pounds, and it's like, well, he couldn't even use his shoulder until recently for 8 months. What do you expect? You can't work if you don't have a working shoulder. You can't do anything pretty much. You can't even run because you can't jostle it about, you know, when you're running. So you can walk gently. And it's like, some people are so stupid. It's like, how dare he come back a few pounds heavy? It's like, well, what else could he do?
I don't think he looked that fat.
No, I didn't think he looked that fat. He looked
really, he did. You tell he put a little weight on, but that's the. I actually when you told me that, I was expecting to see a much heavier Sheamus. But yeah, he put weight on, but he's not fat. He's not fat like the girl kicking the other girl. They're not that fat. And there's a lot of fat people in wrestling, but a lot of them are just big people. And a lot of them are just fat. Yeah. And I don't really agree with that. Hey, if you're fat, you're fat. I mean, you don't have to necessarily tell the person you're fat. You know, I'm fat. I know that. When somebody said, "You fat ass," I said, "Well, yeah. What do you want me to say? I'm not." Look at me. But if you're fat, you're fat. And, you know, if you're okay, they have this woman singer, Lizzo.
Yes.
Is she English or what is she? American or what?
I thought she was American.
Okay. Now she's fat ass. Totally. And she gets hurt if you say anything about her fat, then lose some weight. I want you to say it's part of your gimmick and go with it. I mean, you know, you may not be not so accepted if you're like regular size, but you're such a fat ass, you kind of stand out. Is that being mean?
No, it's being truthful. I accidentally Googled her, and I can confirm everything you're saying visually with what I'm seeing with Lizzo. I think
but she started out fat, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think the problem with Sheamus is that he's got a fitness YouTube channel that does really well. And, and you know, he's done stuff with like Jeff Cavalier at athleanx.com and that kind of thing. And I think people are trying to weaponize that against him, saying, "Hey, you've got a fitness thing. Like, how dare you turn up out of shape?" And it's like, well, one, he's in shape enough to wrestle
first easily. Of all, I think that'd be great for his channel.
Yeah, so then you can lose the weight with him.
I got heavier because I couldn't do this. Now I'm going to lose the weight, and you watch me lose the weight. I think it's great. I think Sheamus might be a lot smarter than those critics out there.
Do you like Sheamus? You spent some time with him.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy, really good guy. Yeah.
Was he?
He had me down somewhere. What was it? I was with Swagger, and he come out and I forgot what he did. He tried to tie my shoelaces together when I had him down, or I forgot what happened, but he was trying to tie them together. Of course, I can't walk. And if he tied them in a knot, I would have had to pull the shoes off. Then I'd have one shoe in my hand, one shoe with the other shoelace on it. But of course, there's nothing I could do about it. I told Jack, I said, stretch him, Jack. Jack said, hey, he didn't do it to me, he did it to you. I said, oh, okay. But he's a good guy. He's from Ireland?
Yeah.
Ireland, is it Ireland, matey, or is that the ship pirate I'm doing?
I don't know what you're doing. You're doing a hitherto unknown accent that resembles no other accent.
You never heard that before?
I've never heard what you've just done before, no.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Should we skip the Ronda Rousey thing and move on, or do you want to address it? In fact, no, because we've actually got quite a few bits of news left over, so I'll skip some for next week. But I found this particularly
galling
in a sense, I guess. On Steve-O's Steve-O of Jackass fame, by the way, Wild Ride YouTube show, Ronda Rousey praised Logan Paul's wrestling ability on one hand, and then complains about his superstar treatment in the same breath. Like, God damn, Ronda Rousey likes to whinge, and I'm a big fan of Ronda.
Oh, she's the complainingest woman I've ever seen. I mean, she bitches about everything.
Oh man, it's not evenly spread. Is what Ronda Rousey's saying. Logan's their next big star. They're rolling out the red carpet. It goes to show that if you give people the time to rehearse and the resources, you can do amazing things. It's frustrating that everybody doesn't get that treatment. Then Ronda wanted the treatment given to Paul to be made into a standard model. She shared that Paul gave fantastic performances with this consideration. She shared that WWE should put more organisation and effort into each wrestler. Keep in mind that how many wrestlers have they got on the roster? 300 or something? Anyway.
Oh, well, I think she was talking about on that day on TV, I think.
I think they're meaning her. She wants more consideration. Anyway, she also noted that the company was performing well despite the issues. So Rousey, again, says, why isn't this the model? They're doing that with Logan Paul, and he's having these fantastic performances. Look what you guys can do when you put the organisation and effort into things. It blows my mind that this billion-dollar company is succeeding despite itself in so many ways. Was she... right, okay, so basically, she's complaining that someone more famous than her, Logan Paul, which he is more famous, and dare I say someone more talented than her, Logan Paul, is doing better performances. Yes, he gets more time to rehearse, but that was always part of the deal, whereas Ronda Rousey's part of the deal was that she was going to be more of a full-time roster member and that she better actually get good at pro wrestling.
Well, I don't know what she's bitching about. All the success she's had, they pushed her like there wasn't a tomorrow, and she still couldn't. I mean, she just didn't have showbiz in her bones at all. She'd walk out there and wearing some, ordinary looking ring attire. Why didn't she increase her ring attire? Why didn't she revamp that or do something? But she's talking about they give Logan Paul all this extra work. Logan Paul was an athlete, and he can be taught, but so Ronda Rousey was an athlete. But I don't think she wanted to do the things they wanted her to do. She think that would make, her run in MMA look stupid. I think she was always comparing herself. She was putting herself in every situation. And like you mentioned, they got too many people up there to do that to everybody.
I think what she's saying is let's have 6 weeks for every single wrestler before they have a match to rehearse. Is almost what she's saying here.
I thought they had that.
Well, 6 weeks.
They train every day, don't they?
Oh, you mean in the
another reason they don't say 6 weeks before. They don't know when these people are going to have a match anyway. You could get called up at any time. So it's to your benefit or the talent's benefit. If you're in that training camp in Orlando, you need to be ready when they call and send them up and let's see what you can do. That's how they test them. Now, they will test them within a seasoned performer and they'll go over it and over and over it. But it doesn't mean anything if the talent doesn't pick up the showbiz aspect of it. So sometimes they can do something out there and one of the writers see it or one of the guys writing TV see it. Oh, we like that. We need to keep that. Keep the. No, you're not going to have it the first time on TV. First time on TV, usually you're getting beaten. Usually, more or less, unless they're going to push the hell out of you. But I think they should use that. This is what, if they want to change, I think quit beating your regular talent and bring your talent up from NXT. Bring them up there and have them get beat. See, they're not doing the circuit with the regular WWE guys. They are doing a circuit if they got one with NXT people. But even if they lose on WWE, actually that elevates the NXT people because they made the show. So I think Ronda Rousey didn't have a point. She was just trying to seem like she had a point. But she didn't. So more of Ronda Rousey bitching and moaning and complaining. And she can do it if she wants to. And she's not still there, is she?
No, she's long gone now.
Okay, well, I can see why. Because now she is, since Vince is gone, and he'll never be back, I don't think it's wise of her now to be running the mouth. Because now a different regime is there. And she didn't do this when Vince was there, did she?
Oh, no.
Because she was working and they were booking her. But now with Vince is gone, I think it would be still the inopportune time to complain about that. And they got too many people to do that.
I think all it is with her is she's just trying to look for, she's like Jack Perry, trying to look for a scapegoat to sort of blame someone else on why her run failed. And it'd be good if she could just look in the mirror and say, do you know what? It failed because I didn't develop the character enough. I didn't push do you know what I mean? Like the first run was fine. The second run was really a letdown. And you can blame it on WWE all alike, but there's give and take, and she didn't hold up her end either.
They didn't tell any good stories with her either. Now, she can blame creative for that. But creative, when they're sitting there looking at you and they still can't come up with a story, why don't you give them a story? And I don't know. Not everybody gets over, and she, coming off that MMA championship, it should have meant more than what it meant. But apparently after she got there, they figured out that this is, we don't got a lot with this girl other than her amateur wrestling.
Or judo.
And then they found out that she is good as long as she's on the mat and on top of them, but standing up, boxing, not so much. She got knocked out twice in a row on the pay-per-view. And now all of a sudden you want WWE to take her and make her out to be something? It's not happening.
They did it with CM Punk.
Yeah, but CM Punk, at least he went out there and you knew in the back of your head, he's just doing it to make money. CM Punk's not a tough guy, really. He probably beat me up. Of course, a lot of people can do that. But Ronda Rousey was almost the type that, well, she's unbeatable in women's MMA. Unbeatable. And she was till she met Holly Holm and that other girl. When they just straightened a couple out on her, boom, boom, and she was gone. She didn't even take that many punches, and she was out on her feet and down.
Well, the thing is, she had really terrible coaching, because I can't remember if it was Holly Holm or Amanda Nunes, but she's getting her ass handed to her. It will have been on Holly Holm because it went more than one round. And in between the rounds, her coach is looking at a bruised and battered face and saying how great of a job she was doing. So it's like, I don't know what the coaching was all about, but it's just like, stick with what brought you to the dance instead of trying to be a stand-up fighter against a professional kickboxer and boxer.
You're doing a great job getting that ass whooped.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody could do it better, but I don't know. I never was a big believer in the MMA girl. Now the what's the girl's name? Her friend Razzler,
Shayna Baszler.
I think she's got more on the ball than the girl did.
Well, she's probably because she's got a lot less ego and just
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what she's failing to realize is you're only as good as the creative. Oh, you can do a lot of moves, and she didn't even show a lot of moves. Now, Logan Paul went out there and he showed all this stuff he can do, and he'd learned that in about a 2 or 3 month period, 4 months anyway.
Yeah, but Ronda's also not giving credit to Logan Paul being absolutely fantastic at this. It doesn't matter how much rehearsing you've had. No. With a few months with IBs.
Look at me.
Anyone else?
I've had 20 years. Look at me. No, but see, and even if you are and you come along like Logan Paul would still be hitting on zero if they didn't have a plan in place for him. Do this and do that. Plus, he's exciting. He's a cocky bastard. And I was thinking for a while, and this is before they did it, I think, didn't they put him with Theory and the other kid from Australia? What's his
Grayson
name?
Waller.
Isn't he with them or kind of attached to
I'm not sure.
them a little bit?
I don't know.
But that would be a good matchup.
He's sort of in the same vein, isn't he?
Oh yeah, but they can do some great backstage stuff with them. He's telling them to do this, and then he leaves, and he said, "Think we ought to do that?" Because then they'll pitch a little interview with him, and they could go a long way. It's just little things that, and they're trying to help him win, maybe get him beat one time, and then who knows where that might lead.
I want to tell you a story. Story time with Dutch, I know, but I'm going to tell you a story.
Yeah.
So when I was in Philly, this isn't to do with wrestling. Me and someone else were going to go to see the Rocky statue, just because I had very little time and I wanted to do something touristy. And I ended up going to the art gallery the next day. But go to the Rocky statue, and we're at just the pedestrian crossing just before we're about to see it. And then a guy runs up beside us, and he's in grey sweats, grey top, headband, big beard, blonde hair. And he looks at me, and I look at him, and then he looks forward and starts shadow boxing really aggressive, like absolutely making a spectacle of it. And I just go, oh my God.
He was shadow boxing at you?
No, he was shadow boxing at the traffic.
Oh, I see.
And I was just like, oh my God, it's another crazy. It's yet another crazy that we've got to, look forward, don't make eye contact again, hope they go away. So this guy ends up running off. He runs up the stairs, and me and the person I was with take a photo with the Rocky statue, and then we leave. A few days later, it's bugging me who it was. And I Google, it was Jake Paul.
Really?
It was Jake Paul doing a skit on the Rocky steps because he's fighting Mike Tyson. And I just thought that was so weird that because I wasn't going to go.
That will draw.
Do you think?
Oh, I know it will. Have you seen Tyson's trainings videos?
Yeah, but I mean, like the freak show fights have been run into the ground. This might be the last one that's got a draw.
I don't care. This will draw.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, I think, expecting maybe what's the boxer's name?
Jake Paul or Mike Tyson.
Tyson. I think they're expecting Tyson maybe knock him out, even though it's an exhibition.
They've got big comedy gloves on as well. They're like 16 ounce instead of like.
He can still knock him out. He can still knock him out.
Yeah.
60-ounce gloves.
Well, 16 instead of 12 or whatever it is.
Yeah, but that glove's not that much bigger than a 12
No,
ounce.
but it's like you punch him and he goes, there's like nothing but it's really soft in comparison.
Do that again.
No.
No, do the balloon, do the bell.
Like that.
Hey, that's your deal.
Okay.
You found your deal now. You
found my talent.
Yep. That's it.
So there you go. That's my story. For somehow me.
So
and
where
Jake
are they
Paul,
where are they having it in Philadelphia?
I don't know. I don't know where the fight's happening. Do you want me to look?
Yeah.
Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Location. Give me a minute. Sorry, the scintillating radio of me type. AT&T Stadium. No.
A stadium.
It's at the AT&T Stadium, apparently.
Where's AT&T Stadium?
Texas.
Oh, Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Arlington, Texas, they're having it.
That's where the Cowboys play. That's 100,000 foot seat stadium.
There you go. Room for you. Room for both of us. We could go. And I could go, ooh, Jake, do you recognize me?
What if he just hopped down and punched you in the mouth?
Oh, fine. I could take him to court. There's cameras there. I'll be glad with that. Right, we're going to do 2 more quick bits of news, then we're going to shut down this podcast. Number 1, Michael Cole, the greatest of all time. In an interview with TV Insider, current NXT announcer Vic Joseph has emphatically named Michael Cole as the greatest announcer of all time. Here's a quote. Michael Cole is the greatest of all time. I'll say it again. He is the greatest of all time. I've learned so much from him. Here's the thing about Michael Cole. He doesn't want me to be Michael Cole. He doesn't want Corey Graves to be Michael Cole. We all have our own distinct voices. It's how you, as a listener, hear it. When I went to NXT, I didn't want to be Mauro Ranallo. I don't want to be Michael Cole. I want to be myself. But if you're the greatest of all time, why would you not want to pick a few things from them? There is no quarterback in the world that's not looking at Tom Brady's mechanics or Patrick Mahomes' footwork if you don't study people who are the greatest. I think it's foolish if you don't. I will take as much as I can from Michael Cole and Corey Graves for that matter and mould it into my own, then hopefully get to their level, Vic Joseph said. So, is Michael Cole the best?
He's okay. Is he the best? The way he does it, I don't think he's the best. I just don't. But I think he was the best with Vince because it takes a lot of talent. See, I'm just interested in what he's telling me as a viewer. That's all I'm interested in. But he worked good with Vince because Vince was telling him to do 400 things a minute. Get this in, get the after a while, you're just following orders, and he got used to just calling it right out. But to me, he had no humor. He had nothing like you could equate with a person. I tell you, Lawler was good, but he's color. That's different. I like the color guys a lot better than I like the straight guys. But if you're talking about just straight commentary, even Gordon Soley, I think he would be as dry as he was. I think he would probably be up there in the top 3. Lance Russell would be up there with them too.
I know who your favorite is.
Who?
Bob Caudle.
No, Bob Caudle, he's up there in the top 4. He was. But see, he's only as good. Now, a straight guy really can only be as good as his color guy. If you give it's like me and you doing this interview. If I don't give you anything to respond to, then you're having to go to a different subject, this, or try to explain something to me like Mauro Ranallo or whatever that I never got. See? Get it? But him as a straight guy, it's to take him for 3 hours is a tough take. Even football announcers. I mean, after a while, give it a break, guys. We know it's a football game. We know it's 3rd and long. We know that. So let us enjoy the ball game instead of you. I mean, there is when Michael Cole was on the air, there was no dead air for words at all. It was straight. Give me a break, guys, please. Lighten up a little bit. And remember, I brought this up to you before, like I'm watching old English wrestling, and they had one announcer,
Kent Walton,
and he would go out there, and everything wasn't a word fest. Like sometimes they'll tell you, like, oh, he hit him and he stomped him, and well, hell, I can see that. He hit him and he stomped him. Now you're telling me after it, I don't get it. But give it room to breathe and give the viewer something to maybe ponder on. Think about a minute. That's where usually the color guy comes in. Now the color guy can make it or break it. And I think when Lawler was there, he was good. When Jesse Ventura was there, it was good. Heenan was probably the best because he was funny and you didn't know what he was going to say. Now you more or less know what the straight announcer is going to say. And I didn't mean to get off the topic here, but no, I don't think he's the best. He's very, very good, but he's not. I wouldn't pick him as my best.
I'm going to give an example for UFC fans. John Anik. Yeah, he can hit all the beats. He knows all the information about all the fighters. He can throw to the sponsors whenever. But he doesn't excite me in any way. He's just a guy filling in the blanks.
There's no life in him.
No, it's like, that's why I really like Mike Goldberg back in the day.
Here's one. Joe Rogan.
He's got worse over the years.
Has he?
Oh, God, yeah. He's really annoying these days. I mean, back in the day when it was just him and Mike Goldberg, that was a real dream team of commentating because they seemed to really...
I hadn't heard him in a while.
He only does a few pay-per-views a year now. I think the podcast has usurped his time.
Usurped.
Yeah, it's taken...
I like that word.
But he and Mike...
who would you say would be number one?
Oh, it's like a straight man commentator.
A straight man commentator.
Yeah. Well, the lead announcer.
Who would you say?
I do like Vince.
So you don't even have an answer for your own question.
I like Vince. And I like Jim Ross. Do you know, I always like Tony Schiavone.
I do like Jim Ross. Once you get over that damn I'm stupider than a box of rocks Oklahoma accent he's got, which he doesn't really have, but he's what he does, he shows emotion a little bit. Like, my God, he's like, he can't believe he has to ask this question, but my God, what were you thinking? And that's showing a little bit of emotion and a little bit of distaste for what the heel had done. And that means a lot.
But he sounds genuine. All the commentators do that, but he sounded genuine. Tony Schiavone always does something that I liked, and it's the first thing he always addressed the people watching, and he'd say, "Hello again, wrestling fans," and he'd always say "wrestling fans," and I always like the lead-in with "Hello, wrestling fans," and it brings you in straight away. The only problem with Tony Schiavone, because I listened to him mostly with WCW in the later years, was that at some point you could really start to tell he hated his job, and then him and Bobby Heenan would have sometimes negative chemistry, where they just hate each other, or they didn't get along, because they didn't get along for quite a while. And that's when I didn't enjoy Schiavone as much, but I really enjoyed Schiavone and Jesse. I really, when Jesse Ventura was in WCW, I really enjoyed Tony and Bobby Heenan when they were getting on well together as well, because I always thought Tony was a really good commentator. And Jim Ross was a completely different commentator before he had the Bell's palsy stroke. His voice was different.
You know who I didn't like as a color commentator with Jim Ross?
Go on.
Paul Heyman.
They were too combative.
Oh, they would almost get into a damn, you think you were getting ready to fight.
Yeah, well, some people love that. I never enjoyed it. I totally miss Jerry Lawler when Paul Heyman's a really good commentator as well.
I think they made Lawler into almost a sex fiend. The boobies or the...
Hang on, they made Jerry into that, or...
No,
just
Jerry made himself into it probably, but they made him too silly. He killed his own territory by trying to keep that job. He would go up there and act like the village idiot. Then he would come back to Memphis and be the big baby face. It didn't mash up, period. So I think he let them kind of mold him, but it was okay for WWE or WWF at the time, but it wasn't okay for Memphis or the territory that Memphis covered to see their top babyface treated like a village idiot.
We are going to do one more bit. I hate to say I've scrubbed something that I really want to talk about, but it's Dusty Rhodes and TNA. We'll talk about that another time, I promise you, because that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you for a long time. One more bit of news. It's not really news, but Roddy Piper. It would have been this week his 70th birthday. Rowdy Roddy Piper died at the age of 61 on July 31st, 2015. Can we have a fun story about Roddy Piper to finish the show off with?
Roddy Piper, as somebody was asking me in the dressing room one night, you know how he'd do those interviews on the Superstation? And it was like, it would be as fast as he could get it out, but make sense. And I asked him one time, or maybe I didn't ask, somebody else asked him, Roddy, what did it cost you in cocaine to do that interview? And he'd say, he would say like $75. And I don't even know what, I guess cocaine wasn't that expensive. I don't know. I never bought it, but he would have to really light himself up before he went out there because he was on fire. And he was walking back and forth and he was sweating. And so whether you realize it or not, that was Roddy Piper doing coke on live TV. Well, it wasn't live, but it went live that afternoon. They do it in the morning. He was that way at 10 o'clock in the morning. Imagine what he was at 11 o'clock at night. But he was wide open. And in the dressing room, you'd be over there in the corner, and all of a sudden you look back and he's not there anymore. Where'd he go? And then you see his bathroom door open. Here he come out with somebody. And well, let me tell you, it was no secret. So when going in and doing the nose and all that. So, and then when it come time to do the interview, I'd be right in front of the TV, sitting and watching it. And he was never disappointing. It was always, I can't remember some of the stuff he talked about, and he was a talker anyway. So you imagine a talker boosted. Let him boost that speech a little bit. And that was Roddy. What did Roddy die of?
I think a heart attack. I mean, I think he said that he never expected to see 60 because he said all the stuff I put in my body over the years, I won't make it at a certain age. And at 61, he was probably lucky to get to, it sounds like.
Yeah, he was, he put a lot of stuff in his body, and some of it is, you can't unwind the effects of it. And if he died of a heart attack, and really, even when he was messed up, he was still likable. And he'd slap you on the back, and it's like, he would just speed it up Roddy. And never confrontational, never want to, argue with you or nothing. He was just having a good time. So if anybody enjoyed life, it was Roddy Piper.
TMZ reported that it was a heart attack caused by a pulmonary embolism. He died in his sleep. So I guess if you're going to go, do it that way. Do it in your sleep.
So it was a what?
Pulmonary embolism, but heart attack caused by
that's the same as a heart attack.
Yeah, well, cardiopulmonary arrest, heart attack. Yeah, I was right. You know, we were just saying on commentators who we liked and didn't like. I know this is a tribute to Roddy. I really didn't like him as a colour commentator, but I really liked Randy Savage. And I know Jim Ross.
Yeah, I'm just reversed.
Okay.
I've heard Savage so much. You know, you come to the overabundance of one guy. And I used to ride with Savage, and he was the same way if he was driving. Oh, yeah. And I got that in my head. And after a while, when he would come out there, and I think Randy may not have nothing to say, but it was still Randy saying it. And just the way he said it was enough to tune in for. But you like Randy better.
Well, I need to quantify it. Not the old Roddy Piper commentary when he was doing it with Gordon Soley in Georgia or wherever. It was the Roddy Piper who took over from Jesse Ventura in the WWF in like 1990. I didn't like his commentary there because he was so full on and just screaming at the top of his lungs all the time that like I'd be catching my breath just listening to it. Whereas Randy Savage, as intense as he was, I thought he really complimented, of all people, Jim Ross really well. And then Jim Ross has said that he hated working with Randy Savage because Randy was so unpredictable. You never quite knew what he was going to say. But to my child's ears, I really enjoyed Randy as a colour commentator.
Well,
there you go.
It goes to show you there are different types. And that's why you have so many color commentators after a while. You know, it's like you got this neighbor coming over, and he comes over once a week on Saturday. You watch the show, but then after a while, you know, you don't miss him anymore. So then you bring your other neighbor in for a while, and you get a little diversity there, and you know, a little sample of somebody else. But Savage never said anything that made me think. Now, Jesse Ventura did. He would make me think some things. And Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan would make you think. And Bobby Heenan was such a smartass. And he was funny too. And I really liked Heenan. So I think Heenan became the mold for most of the wrestlers in the late 80s, late 70s and 80s. I think Bobby Heenan was their poster boy, and he was good. But see, I never heard of him. So he was in a territory that they didn't travel around that much.
He was in Georgia at one point for like a year.
He's in where?
He was in Georgia for a brief period.
Yeah, he was. But that was before. Yeah. Where he stayed before was like around Chicago and Indianapolis.
Yeah. It was in AWA in Indianapolis. Yeah.
And I tell you, a show I didn't like was the AWA show. That was the most boringest show I've ever seen. I don't know how they drew sellouts wherever. I mean, because it was, and some of the talent they had, it wasn't exciting or anything. But that's just what I think their show matched the Midwest of the United States. Boring as hell.
Are you
really boring.
Are you saying that Rambo Greg Gagne did not light your world on fire?
Oh, man. He was. I never had it on a regular access. And I'm glad, because I wouldn't be tormented by turning it off. And, you know, the old man, Gagne, burned, and the kid, both boring as hell. And even though Bruiser, and you had Bruiser around there and Crusher and all that, and they were supposed to be like funny guys, I never found the humor in them, to tell you the truth. And let me tell you another boring ass territory that nobody ever saw. And even the people that were inside that lived there, they never saw it either, was Kansas City. Horrible. No, it's not. It wasn't that good. It was really, really bad. I mean, terrible. Now I'll tell you some territory, and I've told you about these before. Was anything Ron and Robert Fuller had a feel for? Because those guys were entertaining as hell. They were entertaining just going down the road. And Ron, he understood wrestling. He grew up in it. So did Robert. And they just kind of had the feel for the fans. And I think maybe Ron may have given me the saying, feel the heat in the room, feel the temperature in the room. And that's an old comic saying, but you feel the room. Like every time a wrestler goes to the ring and he's walking through that crowd, he's feeling the temperature. And he's having the people tell him what he's going to have to do to get a reaction. And you ever see comics, they get in the ring, they'll go to one corner and, and they go to another and in the back of the stage. And then they make a joke of it and said, oh, I'm feeling to see what corner is the funniest corner. It's so stupid, but it's funny. And they play around like that. But Robert and Robert and
Ron.
I forgot Ron. I can't remember names at all. So thank you for being there for me. But they were just classics.
Hey, we don't want to hear about the territories you like. Let's hear about the territories you hated. So AWA and Kansas. Have you got any more? I'm going to advance one. The WWF. That was some of those because they put them on the network. No, some of them were awful.
I would have hated that territory.
Yeah. Late 70s WWF. They've got them on the WWE network, some of these hour shows. They're terrible. Unwatchable.
I always thought... See, Vince didn't want to admit, and even his old man didn't want to admit, they used all the big guys. The big guys move slow. They wrestle slow. They actually talk slow. And it was just a boring show. Their most exciting guy when he was there was Vince Jr. He'd actually put a little life in it, but I didn't like that at all. Even though now I've seen some of Oregon, I would have probably liked Oregon probably because of the way they did things. Because Oregon they didn't use the big giants. And of course, when you use the big giants, I was ruled out anyway. Because it's hard to compete with, guys going out there and flying all over the place and another 320-pound guy getting a ring and stomping around for 10 minutes. But their concession sales should have been very high. Because everybody's saying, shit, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be back. Tell me if anything happens. And they just get up and leave. But I didn't really work all that many territories. I worked Tennessee, really liked Tennessee, liked the style. And
I've got a list of about 30 territories you worked. You worked so many.
Been there, but not for long. I just didn't like them. I was in Texas. I liked Texas, but didn't stay there long. And, where else did it say I worked?
That'll be a question for another episode, I think, because we are coming up to our time. I'm actually going to wrap it up. I do have a spreadsheet somewhere where I can actually find out this. So I might even do it for the Ask Dutch Anything podcast.
Hey, what was that guy's name that won a book because he guessed who used music first?
I don't know. That was like a month ago.
I know. I hadn't sent the book yet either.
Oh, right. Okay, then. Okay, right. So I've got two things to do then. I'm going to send you the name of that guy, and then I've got to find that spreadsheet where I found out every territory. Yeah. Okay. For now, I'll try and figure that out for Tuesday's Ask Dutch Anything episode. If you want to email in a question for that Tuesday's episode, and every Tuesday's episode, you go to questionsfordutch@gmail.com. Aside from that, we're going to see you on Tuesday. So thank you very, very much for watching, everybody. And Dutch, we the people.
We the people.